Why, hello everyone, my name is Funny, back with some more with Tanagashi. So, this year is not turning out well so far since my laptop that runs most games have lemoned out, and not only that, I've lost few of the recordings except for Harvester. But the only recordings I've lost was the Starbound gameplay and Amnesia the Dark Descent, of course, but in all honesty, my Amnesia the Dark Descent playthrough videos I recorded didn't turn out very well. But enough of worrying about it. We're gonna read. Anyway, after lightly beeping the horn, Oishi-san's truck drove off. I went to the front door without waving goodbye. The door was locked, but the chain wasn't up. I unlocked the door and entered. Oh man. Then walked over to the staircase. That was where I lost consciousness. What the heck was that? Well, I don't even want to know what the heck happened there. Let's see, new tips. Oh, Scrapbook 9, the elderly leader of Sons. Ah, shit. Ah. Let's look at the new tips. Okay, we got from the Scrapbook 9, the elderly leader of the Sonozaki family. Scrapbook 10, request denied. Okay, so right when I last left off of the recording, I guess I'm done with that chapter, I guess. Alright, let's read this ninth one. The Sonozaki family. The one to drastically expand its influence after the war was the Sonozaki family. The leader at the time was Oryo Sonozaki, who still has that seat today. I said Oreo for a moment. Oryo Sonozaki has grown old, and today you can only catch a glimpse of who she was at the time. From what I've been told, however, she was a leader extolled as the best in history. Having become so old, aside from going out a few times a week for lessons, she spends her time at home in solitude, and seems to leave most of the ceremonial affairs to her heir, Mion. There are different views on why the successor was not her daughter, but her granddaughter Mion, but it's rumored that it has to do with disownment of her daughter and son-in-law. That uninhibited granddaughter, Mion Sonozaki, still shows no signs of the dignity required of the next leader. However, she does have Sonozaki blood in her veins, and is permitted the name of demon. She still doubtlessly requires caution, and is probably hiding her fangs and claws as skillfully as the leaders of the past did. Huh, really? Let's look at this one. Elderly leader of the Sonozaki family. Yes, the postal worker hasn't seen anything either. The Sonozaki main house has their seal hanging from their mailbox so that anyone can stamp their mail or parcels with it and drop it in. That's rather careless of them. So, when has she last seen? She was last seen at the Watanagashi opening ceremony greetings. She apparently returned home right after that. Well, she is pretty old. From what I've heard, she goes out a few times a week to take lessons, right? Have you found anything out about that? Every Monday she goes to the assembly hall to practice the Taisho Godo, but she didn't go this week. Any calls to say she wasn't going to be there? Has anyone confirmed it? No, nobody. She apparently takes days off once in a while though, so no one thought it was strange. Tomorrow, why don't we pretend we're at the town hall and call around 10 o'clock? Please figure out whether she's at home. 10 o'clock? Got it. Ever since it started to seem more and more like ancient Hinamizawa traditions has something to do with all this, he'd been keeping a careful eye on the three families. At this point, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family and the leader of the Furude family had disappeared. There was only one leader left. Orio Sonozaki, the leader of the Sonozaki family. She was apparently a pretty old woman. Her dignity hasn't waned, but she still only appeared before people rarely, so it was difficult to confirm where she was at any given time. She, the last leader, hadn't been seen since the day of Otanagashi. Was she still alive and well within the Sonozaki main house? Or had she... According to Mion Sonozaki, she had fallen ill and was sleeping it off. I wonder if she's really sleeping. I'd like to take a look at her face and her pulse. You can say that again. The two of them breathed out a big puff of cigarette smoke. Oishi-san, about the search warrants for the Sonozaki main house and the Furude Shrine, do you think we'll get them? Oishi didn't respond, exhaled another cloud of tobacco smoke, his surroundings now as foggy as his mind. I guess that's it? Alright, on to the 10th one. The Hidden Demon. The inhabitants of Hinamizawa believe that the blood of demons flows in their blood. As such, the character for demon is treated as very sacred, and I cannot read kanji. For example, usage of the character in names is apparently a right reserved for only the leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Sonozaki families. Case in point, we can see it in the current Sonozaki family leader's name, Orio, is written with the character something. This and only this is proof that she is a legitimate leader of the Sonozaki family. In the same way, Mion Sonozaki, its successor, contains something in her name, with me being written as whatever. It also goes for Orio's daughter and Mion's mother, Akane, who did not succeed her. It's known that before the disowning, Akane's name was actually written as something, though it was changed afterwards to something still read as Akane. Incidentally, it's thought that the first character, the mayor Kichuro's name, originally meant demon, which can also be read as Ki. It should be said that names using the character something aren't limited only to successors of the Sonozaki family. You can even find it in the last names of the three families. For example, the characters for Kimiyoshi something are likely a split-up version of something. If you write it in reverse and top to bottom as something, it clearly resembles the character something. As for the Furude family, who have been in the Shinto priesthood for generations, the word for fortune, I can't even pronounce it. My mind is pretty off. Fortune teller can be written without interval characters as whatever. I think that with the addition of Demon's Horn, the tick on the top of the character, the whatever became the something that is used in their name now. In the case of the Sonozaki family, where Sonozaki is written something, I can't find any reference to the character something, perhaps because it's already ingrained into their first names. They were the clan responsible for running the Watanagashi ceremony, so I think that instead they included the contents of that ceremony into their last name. The Zaki in Sonozaki is a conjugation of the word for slice, and the Sono, written as something, probably contains the hidden meaning of human body, as it is a complicated mess, organs enclosed by four sides. I think, in other words, that Sonozaki comes from those who slice open the gut. Ew. Oh my god. Why do I even want to know this? This is a very, very sketchy moment right there. You have got to be kidding me on this one. Anyway, we've done that. Let's see the request denied. I'm back. How did it go? Did you find any clues? The officers shook their heads in disappointment. Exhaustion was plainly showing on everyone's faces. That was only natural. None of them had gotten a wink of sleep since the day of the Tanagashi. Chief, let the youngest of us take a nap and then switch them out. We've got a long stretch ahead of us after all. Let's not push ourselves too hard. Rest up so we can take it easy as we go. I've been telling them to sleep in shifts. Nobody actually seems willing to sleep though. Could you tell them yourself, Oishi-san? Oh my, you don't need to force yourselves. Komiyama-kun, please let everyone sleep in shifts, starting with the youngest. Komiyama-san, please do that. After the chief told him as well, Komiyama-san left his seat. So, Chief, still no good on our request? It's just a rumor among the villagers in the first place, you know. It's going to be difficult without more concrete evidence. Even when that evidence might be tucked away in there? We need evidence that evidence is tucked away in there. Chief, don't start speaking in riddles to me now. We have witnesses that say 4 people, including the 2 who died, went into the forbidden ritual storehouse without permission. This is all reliable information. You might call it information, but they're really only rumors. They're not concrete evidence. Well, it's true that we don't have any pictures of the 4 of them sneaking in with cloth tied around their heads. Cloth tied around their heads, like ski mask, or another word for that. Anyway, those 4 saw something inside the storehouse. Something important enough that they'd be erased. Important enough that they'd be erased? What would that be exactly? That's why I'm asking for a warrant to go looking for it in the first place. Anything pointing at the Sonozaki's family's connections to violent organizations would be a major contender, like a pile of tokarevs or a secret poppy production facility. The secret Sonozaki family fortune would also be pretty difficult to discard. Look, Oishi-san, I know how you feel. However, that storehouse is a sacred building belonging to the Farood Shrine, and we need to have proper consideration for the locals when dealing with it. I heard that there was an hour-long call made from Congressman Sonozaki to the big man. Chief, could he have nailed you back down? Anyway, as long as we don't have suitable evidence, we won't get a search warrant for the storehouse. That goes for the Sonozaki main house, too. Especially considering that's the jurisdiction of both Section 4 and the Prefectural Police's Crime Prevention Division. We need careful preparations first. If you say you need preparations, then why don't you just let me talk with them directly? Shiga-chan is the head of Section 4, right? For crime prevention, it's Yamaumi-san. They seem like they'd be quicker to talk if I sat them down at a mahjong table. Chief, you have a visitor. Yikes. Pushing the employee who guided him in right out of the way was an old man who looked like a Yakuza member, given his crested kimono and hakama. Did he not get enough of this over the phone? I am Congressman Sonozaki. I demand to know who's responsible for this. This instant. Hello. I am the division chief, Takasugi. I don't need your name. I could have you demoted on a whim. You wouldn't even be enough. Bring out the one called Oishi or whatever. He deserves punishment for requesting a search warrant on the sacred Farood Shrine. I sincerely apologize. Oishi is currently out on an investigation and he's been difficult to contact. I'll take his place and hear you out. So please, have a seat. The chief's eyes were telling me to get out of here. Perhaps I'll gratefully accept this favor. Maybe I'll go lay down in the nap room. Listen here, the Farood Shrine spent 2,600 years under the imperial calendar and 2,500 more. Beyond that, it is sacred, a sanctuary that must never be defiled. The 800,000 gods, Oyashiro-sama, and the spirits of our ancestors are enshrined there. The holy shrine protects Hinamizawa from when the sun comes up to when it sets, and from when the moon rises to when it falls. Who is the idiot who wanted to set foot in there? Besides, the right to religion is the most revered right of the people of this country in the Constitution. You dare to be so bold as to solely that using your own investigations negligence as pretext? I will not allow it. Are you listening, you lying scum? I'm angry now, so you're not getting off the hook that easily. Oh, man. Oh, freaking boy. That was a one crazy moment right there. Alright, so let me look at all the tips. Yeah, we've seen all of that. All these scrapbooks, and yeah, I think, yeah, we read all of that. Holy crap. I'm gonna save again, just in case. So, we just finished chapter 10, so we're on chapter 11. Good lord. How scary is it gonna be? I saw a ceiling I was familiar with. Though I was groggy from sleep, I did notice that I was in my futon, like I was every morning. I looked at my clock, and despite having turned in so late last night, I had awoken at precisely the same moment I always did. Oh boy, it must be all these darn nightmares on that one. I'm so low on sleep, but I guess you really can get up at the same time every day. The secrets of the human body never cease to amaze me. If I went back to sleep like this, I would definitely not be waking up again. I spurred myself on and slipped out of my futon. Mom asked me about last night at breakfast. Apparently we too had gotten a call asking if we knew where Rika-chan and Satoko were, and Mom vaguely understood that something serious was happening. So then, you were out late last night with all your friends looking for them? Until about 3, I think. Yeah. Did you find them? Rika-chan and Satoko-chan, I mean. Crunch. I rarely bit into my toast. It really didn't have any taste. Just then, we heard the chime go ding-dong. I looked up at the clock and saw that it was about 5 minutes past my regular meeting time with Reina. It was her at the door. Good morning. Did you get any sleep, did you? I think I slept for a few hours. You could probably count them on the chicken's toes, though. Reina seemed pretty sleep-deprived as well. There was something missing from her usual spirit. Are you going to school? Yeah, I think it would be better that way, she said, smiling albeit stiffly. Reina was probably worrying her heart out about those two as well. Even so, she wanted to go to school. If you stay home today, I think you'd just be worrying non-stop and sleeping. I don't want that. So let's go to school together. Alright. Wait just a moment. I'll get ready. I was just a little bit happy about Reina mustering that much consideration for me. We went to the place where we'd usually meet up with Mion, but she was nowhere to be found. We were a little bit late today, so we thought she'd be waiting for us. I guess Michan couldn't wake up today, huh? Ah, that's right. For her, it wasn't just yesterday. She was up all night looking for the mayor the night before last, too. We waited for a bit. Time passed until it got to the point where it was okay for us to go on alone, and we exchanged glances. What do we do? Wait a little longer? At that point, my brain, which had finally been woken up by the morning air, recalled the ominous words Oishi-san had left me with last night. The leaders of the 3 families were disappearing one after the other, and next it might be the Sonozaki's leader. Could Mion have? No, that couldn't be. Let's go. Let's let her sleep for today. Reina gave me a pat on the back. Mion, she's still here, right? Hmm? Did you say something? Oh, nothing, just talking to myself. Let's get moving. The two of us headed to school by ourselves. On the way, we saw a bunch of our classmates accompanied by their parents. It even looked like some of them were being taken to school by car. Really? Surprisingly, the principal was also standing watch at the school gate. I'd never seen that before. Good morning. Good morning. The principal was bowing to our classmates' guardians. The wooden sword leaning next to him was a little ominous. Maibara-kun, good morning. Ryuga-kun, good morning. Good morning. Your teacher has something important to say, so head straight to the classroom. Alright? Reina and I said nothing. The madness that only existed at night had finally crawled out into the sunlight. That's what it felt like. Yeah, something's very sketchy. I am not liking this. Good morning, everyone. The hushed conversations that had been spreading out for a while now all disappeared like an illusion the moment our teacher walked in the door. Silence dominated the classroom. The principal came in with our teacher as well. This was clearly not a normal morning. Oh, man. First, the principal has something important to tell everyone. Go ahead, Mr. Principal. The principal cleared his throat and approached the dais. I don't even know the word. I'm sure some of you already know this. The classroom was dead silent. Everyone was staring at Rika-chan and Sotoko's empty seats. The principal briefly and simply declared that Rika-chan and Sotoko had gone missing. There wasn't a single person in the classroom who didn't already know. There seemed to be many, however, who couldn't accept it as the truth. It had been confirmed to them now by the principal's words. There were sobs throughout the classroom, and I heard a kid crying. They steadily spread throughout the whole room. The big-hearted principal wasn't able to keep his cool either. Okay, everyone, pay attention. From today on, your parents or guardians will be taking you to school. For those of you whose parents can't do so, you'll be coming here in groups. I made a handout, so read it carefully and be sure to show it to your parents. Understand? The teacher's voice was a little abrasive. Not even she could conceal the strain she felt from this unprecedented, abnormal situation. They should have just canceled school today. However, Reina told me that the school was also like a nursery for the students whose parents both worked, so some of them wouldn't want school to be canceled. Well then, let's begin the lesson. Class president? She's absent, I see. Then whoever is on day duty, let me hear it. Oh, rise! That feeling of wanting to maintain an everyday atmosphere, even if only in school, precisely because our lives had been messed up, was something that I agreed with at this point. What the hell's going on here? As for the teacher, who already had her lunch in the staff lounge, she ate in the classroom today. I had to laugh at her curry bento, which was just a rumor until now, but there was nobody to laugh with me. Reina brought her chair and lunch over to my seat. Today it was only the two of us. The fact that we didn't need to drag any other desks over was sad. I'm sleepy. Yeah, I don't feel like sleeping anymore, though. In fact, I'm jealous of the people that could sleep at a time like this. They've got nerves of steel. You're right. I was sleepy this morning, but my drowsiness had dissipated after coming to school and constantly feeling the incredible tension. Reina's bento box didn't have its usual luster. That was to be expected. Reina was up for a long time last night, too. She wouldn't have had time to make her lunch beforehand, since it's not like she would have gotten up early this morning. Grab anything you want. Go ahead, you can admit that my bento is better today. Okay, then I'll have some. Wow, a chikua roll with perilla and cheese? That's interesting. Reina, yours might have ready-made food in it, but it's pretty good too. I realized the two of us were desperately trying to brighten the afternoon mood to its usual level as much as we could. I looked around the classroom, and it seemed like we were the only ones trying to do so, surrounded as we were by gloominess. Oof. Just the two of us sharing our lunches like this, it's sort of like something. Oh. Our laughter grew quieter. I was the first one to mess up. Sorry. I'm sorry. No, it's okay. It's not your fault. Our chopsticks both stopped moving. We couldn't keep it up anymore. Rika-chan, Satoko, I wonder where they went. Those words might have sounded too miserable. Everyone was thinking it, using roundabout ways to address the topic, but I came right out and said it. I heard Reina catch her breath. Yesterday, while you were gone, I heard a bunch of things, so I'll tell you what I know, okay? Sorry again about last night. Go ahead. That time, since they had arrived for support, Reina was helping the ladies' society cook the miso soup we'd had. They reported all of the information the villagers had gathered, and Reina said she overheard it. They didn't know anything important though, did they? Rika-chan and Satoko went home after school, and then apparently went somewhere on their bikes, but other than that... Mion had told me yesterday. We had no clues. Yeah. The police also said that they probably went out on their bikes to go play somewhere as soon as they got home. If they were going out to play somewhere on their bikes right after getting home, then they might have gone into town. So I guess they concluded they disappeared while in Okonomiya. The police were saying how they were going to expand their search to Okonomiya in the morning. In town. It'll make sense why we couldn't find them even though we searched all of Hinamizawa then. Still, something didn't fit. I had no basis for thinking that, just a gut feeling. I revealed something to Rika-chan that was likely very important to her that day. Then, Rika-chan had told me to leave it to her. And then, what did she say? Alright, if she didn't work hard, then something bad might happen to the dog too, I think. With all the talk of dogs and cats, I still didn't have the faintest idea what she really meant, but it might have been Rika-chan's way of saying this was a race against time. Oh, sorry about that, I'm a little sleepy right there. Maybe water can just help me a bit. Saying this was a race against time. Damn it! I selfishly pushed my anxiety on Rika-chan and tried to run away. When I thought about it, I shouldn't have run back then. I should have asked her more about the dogs and cats. The more I think back on it, I really screwed up. Anyway, I don't think Rika-chan was in a situation where she would just go out to play somewhere. Of course, I didn't have any evidence or conviction to base that on. It was just a hunch. I don't think she'd go into town. You think so too, Keiichi-kun? I agree. Rika-chan and Satoko-chan must have disappeared in Hinamizawa. I looked back at Reina, startled. I could hear the conviction in those words. Without replying to my gaze, she took her bento box and went to the hallway. I'm going to go rinse this out. She timed that in a way that broke off the conversation. Suddenly, I got the feeling that the next thing she had to say would be hard to say aloud in the classroom. I hurriedly grabbed my bento box and I followed her. Reina didn't go to the kitchenette, but rather to the water fountains out back, where students seldom went. The water flowed down onto our bento boxes. During that time, Reina didn't say a word. Then, after making sure there were no other students around, she finally opened her mouth to speak. The whole thing about Rika-chan and Satoko-chan going to town to play and then disappearing, that didn't make any sense for some reason, so I decided to investigate a little bit myself. Who did you ask? What did you ask them about? I asked the Lady Society all kinds of things. There was a lot of tofu in the miso soup yesterday, remember? The old lady from the Tomita tofu shop came too. The Tomita tofu shop? Oh, I remember. That was one of the stores on the road leading to the hospital. Those huge lumps of tofu dancing in the bathtub, like cistern, always looked nice and refreshing. The old lady says she remembers Satoko-chan stopping to buy tofu there on her way home from school. Tofu? Well, it's on the way home, right? How is that a clue? Just listen. Do you remember when we went to Rika-chan's house? Reina stepped away from the sinks and spread her arms wide to recreate the space of Rika-chan's room. There was a pot on her gas cooker, and there was miso soup in it. I think there was probably about half of it inside. The rest was in the refrigerator. They must have been planning to make chilled tofu. It was on a plate in plastic wrap. As Reina explained, she walked around as if she were really going through Rika-chan's room. Still, Reina, why does this matter? Keiichi-kun, when you make miso soup, you put the tofu in last. That means that Rika-chan or Satoko-chan, whoever was cooking, was standing there making it up until right before dinner time. Right up until dinner time. Wasn't everyone saying that their bikes weren't around, so they must have gone somewhere to play by themselves? The trash in the countertop bin was put in there really awkwardly too. Rika-chan makes most of their food and lunches, but occasionally Satoko-chan does it too. So Satoko-chan was cooking that night. So that means that Satoko at least didn't go somewhere to play. She was preparing dinner? Yeah. Then I took a look at the rice cooker and there was rice for two still in there. So she made dinner for both of them, but neither of them ate it. Is that it? Reina nodded. So next I looked in the fridge. There was some chilled tofu made from the other half that they bought. That's not all either. There were a whole bunch of plates with side dishes for dinner, and all of them were in plastic wrap. You usually plastic wrap things so that you can have leftovers for the next day. My mom does it all the time too, using them in breakfast or lunch. That's right. You use plastic wrap to save leftovers for later. So the fact that they were in the fridge means that they didn't plan on eating them that night at least. Is that what it means? Keiichi-kun, think a little harder. Their dinner was totally untouched and wrapped up. What do you think that means? Well, that means they didn't need to eat dinner anymore. So they would have gone out to eat or ordered takeout. It must have been really sudden too. If they had decided to do that beforehand, they wouldn't have made anything, but there was dinner for the two of them. That means that when Satoko-chan was making their dinner, they really thought they were going to eat it until right before they did it. So then, the theory about the two of them going out to play and then disappearing is wrong. Yup, they disappeared after making dinner, and right before they ate it. Probably around 7 o'clock. Where would they have gone at a time like that by themselves without eating? That's obviously where this is leading. Keiichi-kun, do you remember? On their fold-out table, there were things like soy sauce and a chopstick holder. There might have been something like that. I didn't remember. The container for the soy sauce, it was empty. There wasn't even a drop left. Chilled tofu wouldn't taste good without it. So I looked under their sink for the larger bottle of soy sauce they have. You sure know a lot about where they keep stuff. I've been to Rika-chan's house and cooked for them before. Reina cleared her throat, her face returning to her serious expression. Then, when I opened the cabinet, the big bottle of soy sauce wasn't there at all. It wasn't there? What does that mean? Everything I'm going to say from here on is just Reina's idea, so please listen until the end without saying anything. Last night, Satoko was making dinner like normal. Rika-chan usually watched TV until the food was ready, so she was probably lying down watching a variety show or something. Satoko put the tofu in the miso soup, and right when dinner was about to be ready, she noticed that they were out of soy sauce. So Rika-chan, who had nothing to do, brought the big bottle of soy sauce to her neighbor's house to borrow theirs. I don't really know my neighbors that well. Would people be willing to just give her soy sauce? Yeah, it's not all that uncommon in Hinamizawa. So Rika-chan rode her bike out to get some soy sauce. No matter how long Satoko-chan waited though, Rika-chan didn't come back. So then, Satoko-chan called up the house where Rika-chan was going. Would Rika happen to be imposing on you? Something like that. The other person must have replied with something like this. We have plenty of food here, so you should come too, Satoko-chan. Rika-chan has already eaten. I think that's how they called her out there. Satoko called Rika a few times. Man. Satoko called Rika a few names in private and wrapped up the dinner she had made for them. She put it in the fridge so she could use it for breakfast and lunch the next day. Then Satoko got on her bike too, and headed for the house where Rika-chan was. Okay, but this is already pretty strange. You don't normally make so much food that you could give it to people who suddenly arrived at your house. A veteran housewife would never normally make so much food that she could feed 2 extra people. Could it have just been a coincidence that they made too much? It's still unthinkable. Reina flatly denied me, since Rika-chan knew that Satoko-chan had worked really hard to make dinner for them, didn't she? No matter what kind of food she was offered, she wouldn't let Satoko-chan's dinner go to waste. This was all only circumstantial evidence and Reina's guesswork. Even so, it was all extremely convincing. It was the only ray of hope we had to topple this situation, bereft of clues. Then, Reina, where did Rika-chan go to get soy sauce? That was the heart of it. It would have to be somewhere she'd be comfortable with asking for soy sauce, and somewhere Satoko wouldn't think it's suspicious that she'd been invited for dinner. So who was it? Reina slowly shook her head. That's all for Reina's guesses. These are all just ideas, okay? Keep them a secret from the police. What is there to hide? Even if only half of what you say is right, it should be a good clue for all this. Keiji-kun, this all means suspecting someone from Hinamizawa. We can't suspect anyone without a really good reason. I saw a few girls coming over to rinse out their bento boxes. Reina cut the conversation short there and returned to the classroom. I stayed there alone, my body bathed in the lively voices of the cicadas. I guess we're good on this one for now. So next part, let's see if we can continue more of this. So like, comment, and subscribe, and see you guys later. Have a good one.